Microsoft said the Go rewrite behind TypeScript 7 could be around 10 times faster. On this real repo, the measured answer was 4.4 times. That is still big, and it is a much more useful number. Here is the first thing I care about: the average wall time chart. TypeScript 6 landed at 0.95 seconds. TypeScript 7 landed at 0.216. Before we talk about theory, the result is already on screen. Now look at the raw terminal lane for TypeScript 7. Same workspace, same no-emit compile path, same broken files, but the run lands around 0.2 of a second and reports about 189 megabytes of compiler memory. Then look at TypeScript 6 on the same repo state. It is still under a second, so this is not a dramatic slow-motion failure, but it is consistently closer to 1 full second, and that gap becomes expensive when compile checks sit inside edit loops and CI. This is why I wanted the data first. Once you have seen the result and the receipts, the real question becomes whether the benchmark itself is fair enough to trust. The benchmark contract is narrow on purpose. Same machine, same tsconfig.json, same command shape, 1 warm-up run, then 5 measured runs per compiler. I'm not trying to test the entire TypeScript ecosystem in one video. The harness is small enough to inspect in one screen. It installs TSC6 from at TypeScript 6, installs TSC from TypeScript at 7, and drives both through the same argument list, so the comparison does not drift. The second important part is parsing. The harness extracts wall time from the shell timing output, memory from extended diagnostics, total compiler time from the compiler itself, and diagnostic count from the emitted errors. That gives us structured artifacts instead of screenshot theater. There is one caveat that actually makes this benchmark better, not worse. This workspace already had TypeScript syntax errors when I ran it. I did not fix them first. Both compilers hit the same broken repo state and both exit non-zero. That matters because the fair question is not which compiler gets a green build after cleanup. The fair question is which compiler processes the same real repo faster when the repo is exactly as it exists. Once you zoom out to all 5 measured runs, the distribution still holds. TypeScript 7 clusters tightly between 0.20 and 0.24 seconds. TypeScript 6 ranges between 0.85 and 1.07. That spread is not academic. Stable low-latency compiled checks are what make big repos feel responsive instead of sticky. The average matters, but the range matters too because developers live inside repetition. Memory is the smaller win, but it is still a win. TypeScript 6 averaged about 234 megabytes of compiler-reported memory. TypeScript 7 averaged about 189 megabytes. That is roughly a 19% reduction. So the right mental model is not TypeScript 7 is only a speed story. It moves down and left on the trade-off chart. Lower wall time and lower compiler memory, with wall time being the dominant improvement. There is also a phase-level clue inside the terminal output. TypeScript 6 spends visible time in parse, program, and bind. TypeScript 7 compresses total reported time much more aggressively while still chewing through the same diagnostics. What this benchmark does not prove is just as important. It does not prove editor parity, plugin parity, watch mode behavior, or compiler API compatibility. If your toolchain depends on those surfaces, you still need separate validation. That is why I do not want to oversell the number. 4.4 times on a real repo is meaningful enough to care about. It is not broad enough to replace engineering due diligence. So the verdict is simple. On this workspace, the TypeScript 7 Go rewrite is a genuine compile path improvement and a smaller memory improvement. The next serious step is not another opinion. It is rerunning this exact harness on the repo that hurts most in your own workflow.